Okay, hello London Self-Defense Academy. Welcome to another video in our boxing series. Last time we were turning those knuckles over on our punches. Today we're going to talk about how to get the most power out of your punch. So how do we get power into our punches? Having big muscles doesn't necessarily translate to being able to punch with lots of power. So the technique is really important. I'm not just punching forwards with my hands like a piston like this. I'm using my hips, I'm turning, I'm using my feet, I'm driving off the floor, and I'm getting my whole weight into a punch. So I turn my knuckles over to get full extension and full contraction of the stretch reflex of the serratus anterior, the boxer's muscle in our back here. That gets the snap on the end of the punch. I'm turning, loading up my back leg, and driving forwards like almost like I'm starting a sprint and translating all of that power up through my core and into my lead hand. So I'm turning my hips as I go. You can see my back foot is coming off the floor in a pushing motion. And what I want you to think about is if you had a shot put. If I just do this with my hand, the shot put is not going to go as far as if I load up and use my whole body weight into that throw. It's the same thing we're doing with a punch. Imagine your fist is the shot put. It's on a chain connected via your hand and you're turning and getting all of that power through the punch. The last thing that we do is we exhale. So we do that for two reasons. To fully get all of our power into the punch and sit on our punches, and also so we're always breathing. Because if I punch and hold my breath, I'm going to gas out really quickly. So I exhale, quick exhale on each punch, and that's where I'm going to generate lots of power from. Now, if we want to set up a powerful punch, what we do risk is telegraphing, so your opponent is going to see it coming. But if we want to generate maximum power, I'm almost going to step and launch myself into the punch, okay? So I'm stepping forwards, I'm loading up, and I'm going through my opponent. Now you'll see Deontay Wilder does this. He does a little lunge step, jabs with his left hand, and then gets his whole body weight through that big right hand. So I'm lunging forwards, I'm getting my weight and my momentum coming at my opponent, jab, and all of that weight is through the cross. So when I'm lunging in, I'm pushing off, I'm keeping my boxing stance forwards, I'm setting my feet again, and I'm using that momentum to come straight through and crack my opponent with a solid right hand. So we've talked about how to get power in straight punches by turning our hips, by driving off the floor, and by snapping the punches. But how do we get power in our hooks? So it's a similar principle. All the power is coming from my core. I'm rotating, I'm driving through my legs, and I'm twisting as I'm coming up. So if I'm going with a lead hook, my weight is loaded onto my front leg. I'm driving through, I'm turning this hand, and it's not this motion, it's coming with my whole body, okay? So I'm rotating through, my foot is even turning off the floor to get maximum rotation through the punch. Now I've loaded up the back leg, so the rear hand can drive, boom, through with the right hand as well. So it's loading up and I'm turning. So the way to imagine this is if you've got a discus and you're trying to throw that discus as far as you can. If you just use your arm, it's not going to go very far. But if you use your whole body and rotate as much as you can, you're going to get that discus launched off into the distance with way more power. So the final thing in the hook to get some power is position of the hand. So if I have my hand really low, it's harder to get as much power as if I come up and I'm almost coming down and over. So they talk about turning over the hook. That's going to give that last little bit of whip on that ball and chain motion, and I can come down on the side of my opponent, maybe even over their guard, and that's going to generate that last little bit of force as I come round with my hook. So the main way I'm getting power out of my hook punches is through rotating my core and pivoting. So this motion here, I'm twisting my foot, but I'm not just twisting it like I'm dancing, I'm pushing off the floor, translating that power up through my hips. My hips are snapping round and the hand is just following that motion. So the power comes from my core, my hips, and that pivot motion there. So pivot, 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 pivot. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. We talked about how to get maximum power out of our punches. If you've liked what you've seen, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment if you want to see anything on the next one.